What's up everybody, it's Rock from Smoke Q. Today we're doing a spatchcock chicken. That's where we remove the backbone, spread this thing out so it cooks really fast. Come along, check this one out. To get started, I unpacked this whole chicken and placed it breast side down before taking a pair of shearing scissors to begin to cut on the one side of the backbone. I start from the back end of the bird, and as you can see, my shears were actually pretty dull, so it took me a little more effort than I typically would, but it wasn't too hard to get through the skin and the bones with relative ease. With one side of the backbone separated, I then used the scissors to cut the other side of the backbone, thus removing it altogether from the whole chicken. I personally discard the backbone once it's removed, but others that I've talked to, I've seen them use it for things like bone broth, so I'd say just do whatever makes sense for you. Next, I used a sharp knife to make a slight incision to the bone that sits directly between the two breasts. Once I made this small incision, I flipped the bird over, and using slight pressure, I pushed down from the top, flattening out the bird. Now, as an optional step, I did season the underside with some of my Hey Boo Honey Spice Blend before hitting it with a light dusting of my Smashville Hot Spice Blend. Seasoning the underside is likely a step that you can feel free to skip, but I like to do it just to impart as much flavor as I can. With the underside seasoned, I flipped it over and then grabbed some paper towels to pat down the excess moisture from the bird. This will make sure that I get the skin as crispy as possible. This is a step that can often be overlooked, but it may be the most important thing you can do to create a crispy, crunchy skin. So with the skin all dried off, I again grabbed some of my Hey Boo Honey Spice Blend. I love this spice blend for chicken, as the honey creates a sweet profile that goes naturally well with chicken. As always, feel free to grab your favorite spice that you like to use on chicken. Some options I like are the Traeger Poultry Rub, as well as Meat Church's Honey Hog, assuming you want to keep with the same flavor profile. Here you can see I'm taking my time and getting every crack and crevice covered with this rub, as that's going to help ensure that the skin is crispy and juicy and delicious and make it an evenly cooked, golden colored presentation. Next, as an optional step, I wanted to kick up the spice level slightly, so I grabbed my Smashville Hot Spice Blend to add a light layer on top. This spice is very cayenne forward, and it's a great complement to ratchet up the spice level on any of your base spices. With the bird seasoned, I was ready to throw it on my Traeger Ironwood 885 at 350. Anytime I'm cooking chicken, I like to stay above 350, as this will allow it to still slowly cook the chicken, but will also give it high enough temp to achieve a crispy skin. Last but certainly not least, I inserted my Meter Plus wireless thermometer so that I can monitor this cook as I wait for this bird to hit 165 in the breast meat. After about an hour and a half, you can see the skin is crisped up and I've hit that beautiful reddish orange color that I was looking for. Once I hit 165, I let it rest for just a few minutes before placing the bird on my rosewood block cutting board so that I could take this whole chicken apart and serve my family the specific pieces they each like. First, I removed the wing flats because my daughter O really loves them. So I set those aside and move on to the rest of the bird by taking my Kendrick barbecue knife, which is perfect for this application as it's so sturdy, and I use it to cut through the middle to separate the chicken into two halves. Look here, I picked this chopped bird up and the juices were just flowing out. It's so incredibly juicy and moist, and in my opinion, spatchcocking is an easy way to create deliciously moist chicken quickly. Next, I moved on to removing the thighs from the breast and then also removing the legs from the thighs. And this is why I love grilling whole chickens. See, personally, my favorite cut of chicken is the thighs, but my family, they usually prefer the breast. So when I grill up a whole chicken, it works really well for everyone in our family to get the cut that they love. My daughter gets the wings she loves, I get the thighs I love, and then the rest of the family dives into that juicy chicken breast. And when I say juicy, I mean juicy. Heck, you can just see all the juices sitting there on the cutting board now that I've had most of this whole chicken broken down. And at this point, all I have left is to separate the breasts and place it on my Traeger tray so that I can serve it up easy to my hungry family. But I'll be honest, these chicken breasts are something I've always worked to get better at separating. and while getting most of the meat off and keeping the skin on. Now, I'm no professional and I don't show it here, but when I remove these breasts, there is a good deal of meat left over. So I just pull this away and place it on the tray as well. It's kind of like a pulled chicken. This is yet another great way that this bird is something that is for everyone. My 1-year-old daughter loves this random pulled chicken, and it saves us from tearing pieces apart anyways. And there it is. There's a full tray of everything broken down. Believe me when I say my favorite way to cook up a whole bird on a Traeger is definitely the spatchcock method. So hey, if you've made it this far and you haven't already, you've got to hit that subscribe button, and you'll be the first to see my next backyard pitmaster creation.